Chances are, if you've turned on the news, been on social media, or even if you just stepped outside, you've heard people talking about the dun-dun-dun coronavirus.
Yes.
You guys have been hitting us up in our comments, asking us to talk about it, so we called the best doctor we know. Joining us now live in Miami is the one and only Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz!
How are y'all doing?
Good.
You know you busy, but you know what? People are freaking out about the coronavirus. There have been a lot of updates this weekend. What's the latest on this virus?
Well, it was about 24 hours. While I'm a little hoarse from the Super Bowl, I apologize. But there were 3,000 new cases while we were all watching the big game. Now we're up to 17,000 worldwide, 360 deaths. That's actually more than SARS in 2002. And the big problem is now we're starting to see cases confirmed in the United States. They're actually, a husband came back to Southern California from China. His wife had never been there, and he had infected her. So now, again, we have more evidence as person to person. And we've got the first couple of suspected cases potentially in New York. So it's spreading. It's moving from an epidemic potentially to a pandemic, which is basically an epidemic in multiple countries. So there are concerns from that regard. However, all that said and done, there's still good news out there. The mortality rate has stayed around 2%. That's 1 in 50 people. Still very high. For give you an idea what the flu virus is, 1 in 1,000. Yeah. So it's a lot more deadly than the flu, but it's not like SARS. That was 1 in 7 people. And so it's sort of in the middle, and the longer that mortality stays low, the better I feel, and other experts that I've spoken to feel about urging caution and avoiding panic.
What are the symptoms of the coronavirus?
Well, it comes on like the flu, except this coronavirus, it's sort of a cousin of what gives you a sore throat, and it married a bad animal virus in one of these wet markets in China. So the symptoms are like a flu. You'll feel sore throats and muscle aches and pains, but this goes into your lungs because when it mutated and married that animal virus, that allowed it to get deeply into an organ that we have a difficult time treating, and most of the deaths have been because of pneumonia.
Wow. What can we do to protect ourselves from getting this virus?
Well, shutting down those wild markets is probably wise. If you have any pet bats, I'd get rid of them because this virus probably came from bats, which, as you know, are flying mammals. But the biggest thing you can do is wash your hands. I know it sounds crazy, but you're basically immunizing yourself because what happens is the virus doesn't really travel by someone coughing at you. What happens is they touch something and they had saliva on your fingers, and then you touch that same handrail or desk, hours even after the person who was infected touched it. And then we touch our fingers to our eyes and our lips and our mouth 3,000 times a day. It's a lot of times that we can take a little bacteria and put it inside of one of our mucous membranes. And that's how we get the illness. So keeping your hands clean is critical because you can't stop it on your own.